Tomorrow is officially the first Saturday of the college football season, and boy has it been a long time. I've been looking at the line for each game and will be giving my predictions. Starting with Michigan versus East Carolina, I'm taking Michigan minus 36. They're a consistent playoff team, while East Carolina has the least impressive 8-win seasons ever. Tennessee hosts Virginia in what should be a slaughter. Virginia has a completely new team. Tennessee will cover the 28-point spread. In the most anticipated game of the year, TCU plays Colorado. TCU, of course, coming in after finishing last year as the runners-ups, which the spread doesn't show, as they're only 20.5-point favorites against a Colorado team who was 1-11 last year. The disrespect is insane, but I'm going with it. I'm taking Colorado plus 20.5. Oklahoma hosts Arkansas State, who wasn't as bad as the 3-9 record suggests. However, Oklahoma did win each of their first 3 games last season by 30+, and I think they're even better this year, so they'll cover this 35.5-point spread. Next game is Iowa versus Utah. Look, Utah State is bad, but remember, this is Iowa we're talking about. 23.5-point spread? Nah. I'm taking Utah State plus 23.5. Kentucky minus 26.5 against Ball State is another one I'm taking. I love what Devin Leary did last year, and I don't think this team is a downgrade from last year, meaning they should be able to take care of business. Some reason, there's a line on Bowling Green and Liberty, which is minus 9.5. Liberty has a new head coach, and they've been pretty solid these past few seasons. I'm taking them to win by double digits. Fresno State and Purdue has a close line of minus 3.5. Hudson Card transferred to Purdue, but they've lost so much talent, whereas Fresno State has kept most of their squad. It's a coin flip, and I'll do something I rarely do. Give me the upset. I'm taking Fresno State. There's also a line on Louisiana Tech, who didn't look impressive at all against FIU last week, and SMU, who are 20-point favorites. Tanner Mordecai has transferred to Wisconsin, and their best weapons are gone too. This is a huge red flag. I'm barreling out. Just give me the under 66.5. Boston College is only 8.5-point favorites against NIU. Boston College is a fairly young team, and I'm taking Northern Illinois plus 8.5. I think we will see an offensive showcase between Temple and Akron. Neither team has a good defense, but Akron I know isn't very disciplined, as is common with many MAC defenses. Give me Temple minus 9.5. Ohio State is shockingly 30-point favorites against Indiana, despite the questions concerning Kyle McCord. Still, give me Ohio State to cover. They're simply too talented for this rebuilding Indiana team, who is poised to have their worst season in a while. Washington is only 14-point favorites against Boise State. I'm sure this line will change by Saturday morning, as this is just stupid. I thought my eyes were deceiving me, as Washington scored more points last year than any other Division I team. They're smashing this 14-point spread. This will be the free spot on a bingo board. There's no line for Rice in Texas at the time I'm recording this for some reason. If there is, it should be Texas by 40. JT Daniels has lost to Texas twice already in his career, and both times were blowouts. Wisconsin is favored by 28 points against Buffalo, whose rebuild has been underwhelming. They're a team who has declined over the recent years, while Wisconsin has sort of declined as well. However, I have trust in Luke Fickell to get this squad to make a statement as they cover this 28-point spread. Auburn is 35-point favorites against UMass, who did of course beat the Aggies of New Mexico State. Auburn isn't a team I'm too excited about this year. They're sort of just an average SEC team, but even then, give me the Tigers to win and cover. Western Kentucky is favored by 11.5 points against incoming South Florida. Every year, Western Kentucky runs up the scoreboard. However, this trend did take a slight slowdown last year. Still, they got one of the best Group of 5 offenses. Give me Western Kentucky minus 11.5. Without looking at the line, I would have figured North Texas would be favorites against California, but they're 6.5-point underdogs at home. Give me UNT all day. Texas football is legit. USC is expected to blow out Nevada. The line is minus 38, and they stopped at 56 points against San Jose State last week. The Wolfpack are on a 10-game losing streak. I'll confidently take USC winning by 38, 40, even 50. Similarly, Texas A&M is 39-point favorites against the Lobos of New Mexico. Bobby Petrino calling plays, and I think they'll win by exactly 39 points. If the line increases, take plus 39.5. If the line decreases, take the Aggies to cover. Another line that's shocking is Army being 8.5-point favorites against ULM. I have to see Army's run defense improve before I can believe it, as they were awful last year. Take ULM plus 8.5. Coming off a weird season which saw them lose by 23 in the LA Bowl, Washington State finds himself favored by 11 against Colorado State, which is simply too low. They beat the Rams by 31 points last year. Screw home field advantage. The Cougars are covering. Baylor is 27.5-point favorites against Texas State. This is disrespectful to the Bears, who have indeed made efforts to improve when it doesn't feel like they have. They're covering for sure. This is my highlight prediction right here. So, the UTSA Roadrunners lost to U of H in double overtime last year. I remember so vividly. Clay Tune ran his legs off that game. The difference between last year and this year, besides they're playing in Houston, Houston has a new offense, while UTSA has gotten better. I've seen opinions stating UTSA deserves to be ranked, and I understand it. I'm a Cougar fan, and I'm saying this. Plus 2.0 spread is generous. We are not covering, and this is my lock of the week. Alabama is favored by 39 against Middle Tennessee State. The Crimson Tide will march in with that same attitude they ended last season with. They're here to win a national championship, and it starts by dismantling the Blue Raiders. Alabama, minus 39. First of 3 primetime games is West Virginia traveling to Penn State, where they'll get whooped. Replacing JT Daniels is the smallest of their concerns, as they have Nick Singleton to worry about. Penn State will show why they're a top 10 team. They're covering. Next primetime game is UNC versus South Carolina in Charlotte. This is a 50-50, as UNC is favored, but only by 2.5 points. I do see them slightly edging out South Carolina, but that's irrelevant when it comes to the line. And here comes my risk of the week. South Carolina is upsetting North Carolina. Now, Illinois is only favored by 9.5 points against Toledo, but why? Toledo won the MAC last year and are looking to follow up a really good season. But you know who else is looking to follow up a good season? Illinois. They were the surprise team from the Big Ten West last season, and they would return 4 All-Big Ten linemen. They have more talent, but I'm taking the Rockets plus 9.5. Last of the primetime games, Texas Tech is traveling to Wyoming. They have no one to fear, and they're really confident. I think they'll start off slow, maybe a little close at halftime, but they'll cover the 14-point spread in the end. A few more games to cover. Tulane is only favored by 6.5 points against the South Alabama Jaguars. The Jaguars have upset potential against a team who lost a significant amount of talent, but I'm riding the Green Wave. Consider those 6.5 points covered. Virginia Tech is 16-point favorites against Old Dominion. Grant Wills will start, thus I'm not ecstatic about this game. I'll miss watching this one. Still, I'm taking the Hokies by 16. Sam Houston makes their Division I debut at BYU, who has a transfer quarterback, Keaton Slovis. I watched Pittsburgh very closely last year, and I like Slovis' play style. They are going to make the Bearcats feel real welcome as they beat them by 20+. Following Dorian Thompson-Robinson getting drafted to the Browns, Coach Chip Kelly seems to have his team in order. Meanwhile, Coastal Carolina has a new coach and potentially worse defense. Because of that reason alone, I'm taking UCLA to cover. That sums up my predictions for week 1 of the college football season. I'll check back on these soon, and we'll see how well I did.